Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this week's webinar from Alika Digital. It's myself and Stanley from a very sunny and cold Cornwall this morning, and Brad, who I think is in Leicester. Is that right, Brad? So Brad's going to be talking about SEO tips to take into 24. So we'll start that in just a few minutes. We've got a lot of people booked onto this webinar this morning, so I'm guessing there'll be a few newbies. So we run this webinar every Friday morning, and we will be sending out the recording in a couple of hours. You can go top right to the handout and grab the slides if you want to go and help yourself to the slides. Michael does his best advert for Donegal every week. It's good to see you again, Michael. We do have a lot of regulars, and we've also got a lot of students who are learners who are taking part in the DMI course. So welcome to you all. So we'll start with the polls first of all. We've got two polls this morning. I will be reading them out so that they can show in the video, or you can hear in the video. So the first question is, if you're doing SEO, please provide more details of all that apply. So not doing SEO, I've got a few more questions on that in just a second. Doing on-page SEO ourselves, that's basically the content side of things. Have a freelancer or agency is doing our on-page SEO. We've done technical SEO ourselves. We have a freelancer or agency who has done technical SEO. So the technical SEO is the stuff that we do to the website to make it faster and more likely to be found in search engines. We have done off-page SEO, link building ourselves, or we have a freelancer, an agency who's doing our offline SEO link building. Okay, so let's see what's everybody saying. So about 13% aren't doing SEO. As I said, I've got another poll in a minute which will clarify that in a bit more detail. 14% are doing SEO on page themselves. And then we've got about 18% that have done their own technical SEO and 11% that have used an agency or freelancer. Oh, the numbers are going up now. 46% are doing on-page SEO themselves, which is definitely the highest number. And the next highest is people that have done technical SEO themselves. Not many people are doing very low levels of link building. That's interesting, isn't it, Brad? Because that's usually the biggest issue that kills people's SEO. So only 7% are doing link building, and only one person says they're using a freelancer or an agency. So I think, as I would expect, most people are doing on page, but not many people doing the link building side.
Yeah, it's what we'd expect to see, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
On page is the easiest thing to implement, isn't it? So
yeah, I should have done these other way around, so apologize. I've done the polls in the wrong order. So this is another one. I think you can again answer more. No, I'm a student or not working at the moment, so you're not doing SEO. I or my current company I work for are not doing SEO, so that will account for the few people that said they're not doing anything. I or we are doing blogging and or creating website content writing, but not specifically for SEO. So a lot of people will update their website and will write blogs, but they're not really thinking about it from an SEO perspective. And I don't really believe it. I've got no responses yet. So yeah, they're coming in now. You might have to clear your other poll. We are doing PR for awareness, but not for SEO. Link building, PR is a big technique for that. We are doing local SEO to get found in the map listings, and we are doing SEO on our website to improve our search rankings. So we know from the previous questions that a lot of people 61% are doing SEO. Interestingly, we've got a very large percentage that are doing PR for awareness, but not for SEO. Now, that's really interesting because we haven't really thought of that before. And it might be that we need to do a talk on how to use PR for SEO purposes and how to make your PR more efficient. So that's really interesting. So the biggest numbers, most popular ones are we are doing PR for awareness, but not for SEO. and we are doing SEO on our website to improve our rankings. So those are by far the highest numbers. Brilliant.
Cool.
Okay, so I think we're just passed over to you, Brad. I'll try and answer the questions in the chat if anybody's got any questions. And how many slides have you got today?
About 35.
Okay, so I'll see you in about 45 minutes then.
Yep. Okay.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Cool. All right. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. So today we're going to go through SEO tips to take into 2024. So I'll do a quick introduction about myself and Annika. Then we'll go over what happened in 2023 in terms of Google and search results and things like that. And then we'll go on to what does this mean for 2024? So what can we look to implement in 2024 to help out our SEO? And then I'll finish with just a few closing remarks as well. So just a quick introduction to me. My name's Brad. I'm the SEO strategist at Annika. So I work mainly at the start of SEO projects, putting together strategies, talking to new businesses that come on board with us to see what we can do for them and what the best course of action is to get them more visibility in the search results. I've worked at Annika for about 8.5 years now, and prior to that I worked at another agency for about 4 years where I focused on local SEO. In terms of Annika, we've been established since 2007. We've got around 23 staff, and that goes across SEO, PPC, social media, creative, and we also do a lot of training as well. We've got over 40 clients and they span across multiple sectors. So we work with e-commerce businesses, lead generation businesses, both B2B and B2C. And we are a full service integrated digital marketing agency. So we do everything from SEO to PR to Google Ads. And more recently, we've started doing a bit more creative work and things like that. So doing web designs, ad creatives and things like that. As I said before, we work with a lot of different businesses. So we work with companies including Eon, Uber for Business, the NHS, Palex, and again, these span across e-commerce websites, lead generation websites, both that are B2B and B2C. So I'll get into my slides. They are a bit text heavy. Some of them are a little bit light-hearted. It's December now, so we can get into the Christmas spirit. So what happened in 2023? Well, the first thing was SEO didn't die. So for years, people have been saying SEO is dead or SEO is dying. It's not going to be around anymore. It doesn't matter anymore. But the fact of the matter is it's still here and it's actually more popular than it was 5 years ago. So for anyone that is hearing people saying that SEO is dying or it's not going to be important anymore, it's probably becoming more important than it has done in recent years. You can see from the graph there, around 2020, it did spike and then it dipped right down again. But we are seeing a bit of a growth again with SEO. So it's definitely here to stay and it's not going to go anywhere. In terms of Google, in 2023, they just released algorithms. So overall, they officially announced 9 algorithm updates. There'll be hundreds of updates they've done in the background that they don't necessarily shout about anymore, but they officially announced 9 algorithm updates, and 5 of those have been released since the 1st of October. So as we've started to close down this year, Google's got really hot on the algorithm updates. And I think it's more than likely that we'll see another one before the end of the year. They love to release one right just before Christmas, just so everyone has a very uneasy Christmas. They also admitted, I think it's probably for one of the first times ever, that they actually admitted they made an error with the rankings. And the bottom one, there are also thousands of SEO professionals that have aged by over 10 years this year. I used to look 18. Now I look about 48. And then I've also I'm going to talk about AI a little bit in this webinar. So I tried to get a picture of SEO professional that looks stressed, and this is what the AI tool managed to give me: a person with 4 hands and a very strange face. So you can see here some of the algorithms that Google released. As I said, 5 of these came after October, including the issue that they said that they basically broke the search results after that October spam update. So we can see that since October we've had a spam update. It broke. They then rolled out a core update, which is probably to remedy the spam update that went wrong. And then in November we had a core update and a reviews update. I would expect we'll probably have a December core update, and maybe even either a reviews or a helpful content update as well. But yeah, like I said, Google loves to kind of give out an algorithm update right before Christmas. So keep your eyes peeled for that, because it will probably happen about a week before everyone breaks up for Christmas. The other thing that happened in 2023, AI continues to rise. So the marketing industry has been absolutely dominated by the rise of AI this year. So if you look at searches for ChatGPT, at the start of the year, it was at its peak. It died down a bit towards the second half of the year, but since the sort of the last quarter, that's now gained in popularity again, and it's about 75-80% as popular as it was at its peak. So yeah, AI is going to continue to rise. Obviously, all the different search engines are playing with their AI landing pages and things like that. There's new tools popping up all the time. Google has also continued to experiment with its search generative experience. So this is Google's kind of AI landing page that it's working towards. My PowerPoint is not working. There we go. So yeah, its aim is basically to directly answer users' queries, and it gives all users the information they need for a specific search. So as with any business, Google's trying to make it so users don't have to leave Google. So over the years, you'll have seen the search results evolve. You've gone from just having 10 blue links on a page and you click to your website to then, if you searched for COVID-19 or something, all the information you need about COVID was in the Google home screen. If you search for the weather in Google, you get the weather pops up, so you don't have to go off to a weather website or anything like that. This is the next way that Google's going to evolve to try and keep people on its website. This is still testing, so I mean, I don't think I've actually been able to get access to it yet, but I would imagine that it's going to become a lot more readily available to everyone throughout 2024. But yeah, like I said, its aim is to, whatever you search in Google, Google wants to allow you to make that decision in Google of what you want to do, whether you want to buy a certain thing and go through to a shopping ad, whether you're looking for information, you'll get that information within Google, and you won't have to go off to a different website. Google's also now started to put a real focus on user-generated content. So they recently, this year, announced a perspectives tab in Google search. I think it's currently live in the US, but not the UK. But essentially, if you search for something in Google, where you get the little boxes at the top that say images, maps, and so on, or it gives you suggestions of what you should also search for, there's now perspectives. And this is essentially just curating user-generated content. So you're getting results from Reddit, YouTube, Quora, TikTok, and all the likes. People putting their own opinions on there. Google's now showing those in the search results. So it's becoming much less about the brands and more about the experiences that people are having. Obviously, it makes a lot more sense for certain things. So, if you were a travel agents or something like that, and people are searching for, what shall I do in New York, or what should I do in London for the day? then this sort of result will make sense. And with that push that Google is prioritizing the user-generated content, we've seen big jumps for Reddit and Quora after the helpful content update in September. So you can see on the image where the red line is, the traffic's just skyrocketed for both of them. More people are using these platforms, and Google is trying to favor these platforms so that it can give people first-hand experience content rather than, you know, salesy content and websites that are trying to just push content to rank on their own websites. So that's something else to bear in mind. So yeah, just to summarize, the digital world is evolving at a rapid rate. New technology means we have to adapt and keep up more than ever. And AI is going to continue to play an essential part in digital marketing. It can be used for good. I know a lot of people are sort of still on the fence about it. At Annika, you know, if we tend to use AI from a content perspective, it is usually used for more of to structure your content and get an idea of what you need to write about it, and then we'll get like the kind of the skeleton in place using AI, and then we can use our own expertise to actually go and write that content. Bing and Google will also continue to evolve their search results with new features, and algorithms will continue to update. Although Bing are closing the gap to Google, they're never going to be as big as Google. I think Google has a ridiculous amount of searches a month. I can't remember the exact figure, but I think it's something like 90 billion searches, and Bing has in the millions. So they are still quite far behind. They have gained a little bit of popularity because they've jumped on the AI bandwagon a bit quicker than Google did. But yeah, Google's still going to be the main one to go to. So what does this mean for SEO in 2024? The basics will still matter. So we're looking at on-page SEO, technical SEO, off-page SEO, primarily. So looking at the core optimization on your website, are you optimizing your page titles and your headings and the body content and things like that? Is your website technically sound? So, you know, if you've got massive glaring technical issues on your website, then it doesn't matter how much effort you put into on-page SEO or off-page SEO. If the website's broken and Google can't index it, then it's not going to show up in the search results. So all of that effort would have been for nothing. So you always need to make sure that your technical SEO is kind of on track. Off-page SEO, links are still a heavyweight ranking factor. So you still need authoritative links. And more importantly, just keep up to date. So updates are coming thick and fast. At the moment, like I said, there's been, you know, half a dozen or so since October. So we need to make sure that we're keeping up to date with the latest trends, not just with Google, but, you know, with AI in general and what it can be used for, what's being popular in search and things like that. And I've put in here sort of the 10 main sort of ranking factors as well for you to take away. So making sure that, you know, you've got your content optimized, make sure you've got those links and everything. Look at the intent and the relevancy of what people are searching for, and does your website match that? Making sure that your website loads quickly. Make sure that it's mobile friendly as well. Make sure that your domain authority is good. Although domain authority isn't a ranking factor as such, it does mean if you've got a higher domain authority, technically it should be a little bit easier for you to rank for more competitive key phrases. Also look at keyword optimization. Make sure that you're optimizing the right types of keywords on the right pages. Make sure that you're only optimizing a keyword on one page and not across multiple pages on the website. Also look at the website structure. So make sure that your website's got the right type of hierarchy. Is everything, all the main pages of your website linked in the top navigation of the website? Are you linking between pages to up the authority of those internal pages on the website? Website security. So I'm sure everyone has a HTTPS website now. but just making sure that if not, then you are getting a secure website. Google absolutely hates anything that's not secure on the web. And if you're on Google Chrome, at least, if you go onto a website that's not secure, a little pop-up comes up and says this website isn't secure, don't do anything on it. And then website experience and engagement. So we know that Google uses some user signals to structure its search results. So if you find that people are landing on your website and jumping straight back off, then you need to, investigate why that is. Does the intent not match what they're searching for? Is it the right type of page that's loading? If somebody's searching for something that they want to buy, but you're showing them a blog post, then you need to swap the optimization around on your website and optimize an actual product or something like that. So when we talk about on-page SEO, I've just gone over a few of the basic elements that we need to make sure that we're continuing in 2024. So we need to ensure that our core on-page elements are still optimized as normal. Content is a heavyweight SEO signal still. So ensuring you've done your key phrase research and optimized your pages is essential. So have you optimized your page titles, your heading tags, and your body content on the website? Are your meta descriptions written so that they entice clicks from users in search? I still come across websites all the time that just don't populate meta descriptions, and the ones that Google will generate for you are absolutely horrendous. It just picks out random snippets of text from the website. Sometimes it can be something as silly as like the footer menu, and your meta description ends up being privacy policy, terms and conditions, cookie policy, or something like that. So always make sure that you are writing meta descriptions. They're not a ranking factor, but they do heavily affect the click-through rate that you're going to get from search. So make sure that you're kind of including unique selling points. If you're an e-commerce store that offers free delivery or next day delivery, include that in your meta descriptions. If you are a service-based business that offers free call outs, or if you're a lead generation business that offers free audits or free consultations or whatever it might be, include that sort of stuff in your meta description. And also, even though, like I said, it's not a ranking factor in your meta descriptions, if you do mention the key phrases that people are searching for, Google will make them bold. So it does stand out a little bit more, and it adds to that relevancy, and that's going to help people click through to your website. When it comes to meta descriptions, try and stick to around 140 to 155 characters. In that sort of range, you should be safe enough that it's not going to cut it off, and also it's not short enough that Google's going to add random stuff to it. When it comes to page titles, we've got between 50 to 60 characters, and you want to make sure you're including your main key phrases within those title tags. It is the most important on-page element. So we need to make sure that all of the pages on the website have a unique page title. If you start having page titles on the website that are the same across different pages, Google's not going to know which page it should show for whatever relevant search might be. You're going to find you've got two pages fighting each other in the Google search results, and you're going to hit sort of a glass ceiling that's going to be probably page 2. Or you might find you get onto page 1 and then immediately go back down to page 3 because Google's swapped the page that ranks. So the main thing with page titles is always to make sure that they're unique. For your heading tags, you need to make sure that the H1 tag matches the page title. It doesn't have to be exactly, but you try and use the same keywords where possible. Google does sometimes use the H1 tag in place of a page title as the blue clickable link in Google. So you just need to make sure that, if Google isn't going to use a page title and it's going to use a H1, that it at least has the same sort of key phrases in it. We should only be using a single H1 tag per page as well. And then we need to structure the following tags to break the page up. So your H2s, H3s, H4s, and so on. You just need to make sure that they're breaking up the page enough. So when you go to talk about a different topic on that page, you've got a H2 tag or a H3 tag. And then finally, for your body content, you want to make sure that you're including key phrases throughout. You want to check the intent of search and the results that Google shows. So what I'm talking about here is if you are searching for something in Google, what type of pages show up on the first page of Google. If you have all blog posts that show up, then you know to rank on page 1 of Google for that key phrase, you need to have a blog post. If all product pages come up, you know you need to have a product page with that product on and optimize that page to show up in Google search. And also, it makes sure you're including internal links throughout. So you want to make sure you're not just relying on your website's navigation to link through to all the different pages. Within those pages themselves, you want to be putting, you know, on this category page, we've got a link over to this category page. And from this category page, we've got a link to a blog post over here that's relevant. And you want to try and, you know, link across the website rather than just down it. When it comes to technical SEO, technical SEO essentially ensures that search engines can efficiently crawl, index, and rank your websites in its results. So if your website has got serious technical issues, all the other work you'll be doing is for nothing. So if you've put all this effort into getting good content on your website, you've got loads of links pointing towards it, but your website is really slow, and Google doesn't like it because it takes 20 seconds for it to load. Doesn't matter how good your SEO is, they're not going to show your website on the first page because it provides such a poor user experience. Also, you know, if you've got loads of server errors and things on your websites as well, because the website keeps going down, if Google looks at the website and gets a server error, it's probably going to, you know, keep that page out of the search results until it can be sure that you can keep the website up and it's not got loads of issues on it. So if you haven't got Google Search Console set up for your website, I'd highly recommend doing this. I don't know if I've got a screenshot note. I'd highly recommend getting Google Search Console set up. It's a completely free tool from Google, and it's essentially a health center for your website. So it'll bring up all of the issues that your website has, whether it be issues with pages not being indexed, whether you've got 404 issues where pages no longer exist on the website, if you've got server issues. You also get performance stats. So what are people searching for to find your website, and what are people searching for when they click on your website? And you also get scores for things like mobile friendliness, HTTPS, so is the website secure, and also the Core Web Vitals, which is one of the metrics that Google now uses to measure page experience for users. So with Core Web Vitals, if you don't know what Core Web Vitals is, it basically measures essentially how fast and how well your website loads. It is a pass or a fail, and it currently uses the largest contentful paint, the first input delay, and the cumulative layout shift to decide whether your website passes or fails the Core Web Vitals. Websites that pass it do get a benefit in search, but at the moment it's more of a deciding factor. So it's looking at, you know, if you're quite evenly matched to your competitors in Google search, if you pass the Core Web Vitals but your competitor fails it, Google's going to prefer to show your website because it knows that your website is better as it loads. So as I said, it uses these top 3 metrics here: the largest contentful paint, so how long does it take for the largest element of that page to load, which is usually the banner at the top or the heading tag or something like that. It also looks at the first input delay, so how long does it take for the actual website to load up and start being interactable. And then it also looks at the cumulative layout shift as well. So this is all about how the website loads. So it does a piece of content load up, a button load up, and then an image loads in, pushes the button down, and someone clicks on the wrong thing. If your website does that as it loads, you'll have a poor cumulative layout shift score. You'll notice it most often on like publisher websites and news websites that are plastered with Google ads and stuff like that. All the ads load in a few seconds later and pushes everything down. And you always click on an ad instead of the news article or whatever you wanted to click on. But with this, it is worth noting that in March, the first input delay metric is going to be swapped out for interaction to next paint. So the interaction to next paint is essentially how long does it take your website to load the next part. So if you've got an accordion or tabbed content on your website, or you've got content and then a read more button, you click the read more button and then the page drops down and you've got a load more content. Google's measuring how long it takes to load that next part. So if you've got a website where you click on an accordion or something and it takes a few seconds to think what it's doing and then it opens, you'll have a poor interaction to next page score. Whereas if you click it and it drops straight down, then you'll have a good score for that and you should be able to pass the Core Web Vitals. So moving on to off-page SEO. So off-page SEO, it is the hardest thing to influence, in my opinion anyway. But this is why it does carry such a heavy signal. So gaining links from external websites is key to getting better visibility in search. This is all about the PR, which is why at the start when we did the polls, we were saying, oh, if you're doing PR, are you doing it for PR purposes or are you doing it for SEO purposes? One thing that we do at Annika now is we've integrated our SEO teams with the digital PR team so that, you know, when we've got an SEO project, we can lean on the digital PR guys to try and push those PR links, but do it so it benefits our SEO. So, you know, if we've done something on the website and created a piece of content, we'll use the digital PR's expertise to find out how we can get that into something we can then outreach to journalists and things like that. And we then get the benefit of sending that out and it sends the traffic to that piece of content that we've created. If you're a local business, then you still want to focus on kind of local industry directory submissions and citations. So Google still uses, you know, citations and things like that to show as a factor in local search. So if you are serving just the local area, then you want to try and get on the local directories and things like that. Things like websites like Yale.com and those types of websites, they will still have a benefit for you if you're a local business. They will still help out, you know, if you're getting links from them. It helps out a little bit if you are national. It's not doesn't carry a huge weight anymore because essentially anyone can build those links. They haven't not as anywhere near as much weight as, you know, PR gained links and things like that. But it's still, you know, it still carries a bit of weight. And like I said, if you're a local business, then it's still kind of the way to go to help improve your local visibility. And then, as I said, you want to try and consider a digital PR strategy that's focused to help assist your SEO efforts. So you don't kind of want your PR kind of off doing its own thing over there and your SEO doing its own thing over here, and there's no sort of crossover. When those teams work together, the results are a lot better than they are if they were working individually. So what else should you focus on in 2024? So you want to focus on double EAT. This used to just be EAT, and this is essentially Google's quality rater guidelines. A year or so ago, they added the extra E. So now it's kind of called the double EAT. And EAT is basically experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. And these are all the things that Google would consider when it's looking at ranking a website in its search results. So it's looking at whether your website is experienced, whether it can be trusted, what are your expertise on the topic that you're talking about, and how authoritative is your website. So that's where the links will sort of come into it. So what can we do to impact EAT? So we can do some basic things like make sure that your website's got an About Us page, talk about when your business was established, what your background is, how long you've been working in this particular industry and things like that. Link to any kind of industry memberships or anything that you have, or any accreditations and things like that. These will help build up that trustworthiness for Google. And it will understand that you are, you know, a genuine business. It might then go off and look at the citations that you've built, and it will say, oh yeah, we can see that they're listed on, you know, all across the web with this business name and this phone number. So we know that they are kind of a genuine business. Ensure that, if you've got blog posts and news posts on your website, that you're using author bios, or you've got a link to the author's page on the website or something like that, so it knows who's writing the content. It can also, cross-reference the authors across the web. So if you've got people that are writing content externally and they're published on other websites and they're also writing on yours, Google might be able to match those up and realize that, the person that's written this piece of content is trustworthy in that sort of space, and they've got expertise on that particular topic. Also, whenever you are citing stats and figures and using data on your website, link to the source of where you got those figures. So if you're using an external website to get data, link to that source and credit it, so Google knows that you're not just, plucking data out of thin air. You are getting it from a trusted source, and only, again, use data from websites that you trust. So when you're looking at getting stats and things like that from, it might be Statista or something like that, make sure that it's a trustworthy website. Don't just take it off a random website on the web, because they might have got those figures they might have just made them up. Also ensure you've got review platforms and collect reviews, so make sure that people are able to leave reviews for your business. Try and get a couple of different platforms set up. So you've obviously got the Google business profile where people will leave reviews. You've got your social media profiles where people will leave reviews. And then we also recommend setting up a third-party review platform, whether it's Trustpilot or Reviews.io. We'd probably recommend Reviews.io. And make sure that you're collecting reviews on there regularly, not just business reviews, but product reviews as well, if you are an e-commerce business. And then finally, build authoritative backlinks. Like I've said before, it is a heavyweight SEO signal, and it does make it so that your website builds that authoritativeness as well. The next thing to do is also focus on user-generated content. So as I said at the start, Google's given a real kick to push this now. So we need to start looking at what we can do to generate more user-generated content. So it could be as simple as generating more product reviews on your website and embedding those onto the website. But it also spans way further than doing this sort of thing. When you're creating blog posts, if you're reviewing products, don't just compare two products together. Google's looking for that actual insight now. So you need to say, talk in the first person, and talk about your actual experiences with the said product or service or whatever it might be. It's not looking at, blog posts and thinking and saying things like, oh, this product could do this for you. You need to put, in our experience, when we've used this product, we've benefited because it's done this for us and things like that. So try and talk more in the first person. And if you are doing product reviews or blog posts and articles on the website, talk about your experiences on whatever it is that you're blogging about. And that will also span across to the way that people think about their PR strategy as well. So just have a think about what you can do to generate more user-generated content on your website. Think about whether you can get onto the platforms like YouTube and TikTok and Reddit and Quora, anywhere where it's predominantly a space where people upload their own content. What can your business do to get on to those platforms? Could you even benefit from adding like user forums to your website to generate more user-generated content? So yeah, see what you can do to get onto those platforms, and even look at, I'll talk about it in a few slides time, but think about it from the other channels that you might be pushing. So if you're doing paid activity, what can you do on that side of things to to get in front of this audience as well. Video SEO, now that Google is pushing sort of the perspectives tab a little bit more and user-generated content, I think video SEO is going to become a lot more important because people are going to be fighting to get their videos onto that perspectives tab. So have a think, is your business currently producing video content? If you're uploading content to YouTube, are you optimizing the videos in the correct way? Or are you literally just putting the video up and leaving it there? If you are uploading content to YouTube and places like that, are you creating valuable descriptions? Are you using transcripts? Are you populating like the tags on the videos and using hashtags and things like that? Are you adding timestamps to the video so that people can see whereabouts on the video they are, and what each part of the video is going to talk about? And also link to relevant pages on your website within the descriptions as well. So if you've got a video on a particular product, then obviously make sure you're putting links back through to that product in that description. And when you are doing that, also consider splitting the content down into short form portrait videos as well. And then you can post those to, I've put post to YouTube in there, I meant TikTok. But consider posting the short form videos into TikTok and Instagram Reels and things like that, so that you're getting your content in all of those places that Google's now starting to favor a little bit more. You also want to integrate your SEO strategy with PPC a bit more. Again, this is something that we've started to do more over the last year or so at Annika. Try and have a more integrated approach to the marketing work that we're doing for our clients. So with the likes of Google pushing more users to sites such as Reddit and Quora, is it worth considering integrating your marketing strategies? If you're running paid ads, are you running them on those platforms? Are you running Reddit ads and things like that? If not, then is it something to consider so that you can get in front of the people that are using those pages? As you've seen from after that helpful content update, the traffic on those platforms has spiked, and it will continue to go up. So more people are going to be landing on those pages from search. Google's pushing them more. So as I said, they're going to benefit from getting more traffic. So, you know, is it worth running ads on those platforms, especially because it's going to get more impressions. You're going to get more people seeing that. And also consider if you're running the same search ads as you're optimizing for SEO. So are you using the same landing pages for SEO and PPC? Are you getting better results from SEO than you are from PPC in terms of engagement on those pages? If so, do you need to create a condensed PPC landing page on that same topic? And if you are, then make sure that if you're just using that page for PPC, that you're putting a no index tag on it so it doesn't affect the organic page that is showing up in Google. We see it quite a lot where we have a PPC team that's running ads. You have an SEO team that's doing SEO on a website. They're trying to optimize for the same phrases. SEO people are sending the traffic to this page over here. PPC have created their own landing page here, but they haven't no indexed that page, so that Google is basically looking at both of them saying, I don't know which one to rank. So although the PPC traffic comes through to there, the SEO traffic is suffering because that PPC page is indexed. So what you want to make sure you're doing is, if you are creating new PPC landing pages for the same topic as something you're optimizing for organically, you're putting in a no index tag so only the organic page can be found in Google search. It won't affect the performance of the ads or anything like that. But if you did it the other way around, then it would affect the SEO performance. So yeah, anytime you're running PPC ads to a different page than you'd send organic traffic to, just make sure you're putting a no index tag there. I've touched on this briefly, but also you want to make sure that you're integrating your SEO strategy with PR. So this means we need to consider what impact PR could have on our SEO. So think about what you can do from a digital PR perspective to improve your organic rankings. if you're creating big content pieces for SEO purposes, and you're creating really interesting articles that are gaining organic traffic and things like that, are those pages ranking well? Have they got links pointing back towards them? If they're not getting natural links, then can you utilize the PR team to send out a press release of that content piece you've created, and send that out to journalists and publishers and people like that, so that they can publish that, which then links back to your main blog, and therefore you start getting the links through to there. Your blog starts to perform really well, and as a result of that, typically your blog posts will include links to your products or your category pages or whatever it might be. And then as a result, those pages over there are also going to get a benefit, because the authority is trickling through from that external website to the blog post. Your blog post links to your category pages, so then a piece of that authority goes over there as well. So you want to make sure that you are making sure that you're looking at your PR strategy and SEO strategy in a more of an integrated manner. And we also need to consider what types of PR will be more valuable in a future dominated by user-generated content again. So look at what's trending and what platform things are trending on. This is a genuine question. I cannot answer this, but will influencers become more important again to promote products? If Google is going to start pushing people to using the perspectives tabs, and it's putting in TikToks and Instagram reels or YouTube videos or whatever it might be, is there going to be a bit of a rise in influencer marketing again, because they've got the platform that Google might favor, because they've got so much interaction with their social media channels and their YouTube videos or whatever it might be. So that's one thing that we'll be looking at in 2024 and considering whether we're starting to see that become more popular. And then also start looking at digital PR from a referral traffic perspective as well. So instead of just saying, "Oh, we've got this amount of coverage," and leaving it at that, look at what referral traffic you're getting through from that PR as well. Although it is handy to get the coverage and get the links through to the website, you also want to try and get at least some coverage on websites that's going to send relevant referral traffic to. If you build a link on a website for SEO purposes, and it generates loads of referral traffic, which then generates you loads of leads or loads of sales, technically, although it wouldn't be classed as organic traffic in your Google Analytics, you'd count that as a benefit of your SEO, because you've only built that link for your SEO. So you need to start monitoring the referral traffic and seeing what that's doing for your leads and things like that. So if you are getting positive results from certain websites, then you need to find similar websites to get more coverage on. Also, consider using AI to streamline your processes. So tools like Yoast SEO, which is a WordPress Magento plugin. They might be on Shopify now. I can't quite remember. But they've recently released an AI generator for page titles and descriptions. So if you've got a e-commerce store that has thousands of products on, you'll have loads of titles or descriptions that are the wrong length. Yoast now can generate these for you. And although we wouldn't necessarily recommend having, pure AI written content on the website that hasn't been edited, it will be better than having nothing there. So have a look at the different types of tools that you can be using to try and streamline your processes and make you a little bit more efficient. As I said, you'd rather have an AI written meta description on your page than none at all, because the AI one, it will be better than whatever Google produces for you. You can also use tools and apps such as ChatGPT to do the brainstorming for you when it comes to content. So one thing that we do is use ChatGPT to kind of get an idea of a structure of a blog post. So we'll say, can you write us a blog post on X topic include 5 talking points. If you give that prompt to ChatGPT, it will come back to you and say, "Yep, this is what you need to talk about, and here's 5 things that you can talk about that are related to that." Then you've got kind of the skeleton of the content that you want to write. You can also ask it to write the blog post for you, but you 100% you have to edit that content and actually go through and make sure it's all okay. But these tools do have the ability to turn content creation tasks into a content editing task. So it makes you become more efficient and means that you, in the future, you can potentially, instead of spending a day writing one blog post, you could potentially use AI to give you the outline of that blog post. You edit it, optimize it, make it your own, and you might be able to do a few more blog posts a month than just that one. So it's AI is still in the very early stages, but it's definitely something that's going to continue to become more popular, and probably a bit more widely accepted as the years go on. There's a lot of people still very skeptical about it, and you'll talk to one person, they'll say it's amazing, it's the best thing ever, and then you'll talk to another one and they'll say it's the worst thing ever and it should never be available to the public. But we'll get to a point where a lot of people are kind of relying on it. But as I said, it has the ability to do a lot of the legwork for you and take the kind of boring tasks away and allow you to focus on, the creative stuff. We also need to make sure that we continue to focus on user intent when we're creating our website's content. So when I mentioned earlier, if you want to optimize a certain phrase on your website, search that in Google and see what pages show up in the Google search results. Is it all product pages? Is it all blog posts? Is it all category or service pages showing up? If every single page is the same on page 1 of Google for a specific phrase, you need that page to be able to compete and get onto that first page. Is there also a lot of video content present in the search results? Is Google showing the video tab on the search results? Are all of the landing pages that are showing up, do they have a video embedded on them? What type of structure do those pages have? And then also, what kind of questions are people asking? So whenever you search for something on Google, I search just here for Apple iPhone 15 Pro. I'm looking here. The people also ask boxes comes up. It comes up for every search that you make in Google. If you click on it, it brings up 3 or 5 results, I think. If you click on one of the questions, then more will load in. And these are the questions that Google is telling you people are asking about whatever it is you've searched for. So if you have a page and you sell iPhone 15 Pro, you need to be asking these questions and answering them on your website. So, have you got an FAQ section on that page? Have you got enough content on there to answer those? These are the sort of things you need to be looking at to make sure that you're including on your landing pages so that, Google's happy and satisfied that you're going to answer the questions that those users have. So just to summarize with the final thoughts. So SEO isn't SEO anymore. Although it was said SEO isn't dead, it's also not SEO anymore. It isn't just a case of writing some page titles and putting some key phrases on your page. It is turning more into a user experience optimization. So it is UEO, not SEO. It's not just a case of putting all of the titles and the keywords on the page. You've got to factor in, is the website mobile friendly? Is it secure? Does it load well enough? Is the user experience of that page good? Is it satisfying user intent? You've got to think of all these things rather than just aiming to get, we want to be page 1. So we're going to put these key phrases on that page. So you also need to consider how your page can answer every possible question a user might need answering before they convert. And is the type of content we're creating the right type of content? Should it be a blog post on your website? Should it be a video? Should it be a product page? What is the content that we need to create to get onto that first page of Google? I also don't think marketing teams can work in silos anymore. Marketing strategies need to be integrated more than ever. We've been pushing this for ages now. With so many touch points in user buying cycles, we need to make sure that our PPC strategy is aligned with our SEO strategy, which is then aligned with our social and PR strategy. All platforms have a part to play in getting your website found in Google. So your teams need to be talking to each other and saying, we're running these PPC ads for these key phrases and we're sending traffic to these pages. Does that align with what we're doing from an SEO perspective? If it does, then great. If not, then we need to go back and look at what we're doing and making sure that if we are sending traffic to different parts of the website, that, if we've got the same landing pages for PPC, then they're not going to interfere with the organic stuff that we're doing. And then finally, just think outside the box. So what can your business do? What can you do as a business to interact better with your customers? Consider first-hand product or service reviews on your blog. So not just creating content for the sake of it, but actually talking about your experiences with whatever it is you're talking about. Try and collate more video reviews and testimonials, which can be posted on your website and social channels. That will help out from a user-generated content perspective. If you can, get those video testimonials from customers, then that's physically someone talking about your business and the services or products that you offer. So you can use that to your advantage. But although we're talking about all this thinking outside the box and becoming, SEO isn't just SEO anymore, we also need just to make sure that we do get the basics right as well. And that we are getting, the technical part of the website right. We are getting the right key phrases on the right pages and stuff like that. That is kind of like the bare minimum, but we do need to be thinking, a lot broader now on what we can do to get websites found. And
Brilliant.
That's it.
Okay, so there's been loads of questions. I have tried to answer most of them. Before I do that, I just want to bring up a couple of things before everybody goes at 10. So I've just put in a link there to the training and qualifications page. We've got 3 or 4 different courses at the moment that we're recruiting for January. So if you are interested in most cases, it will be free. It's a 12-week, 1 day a week course. We've got places left in all of the areas except for Norfolk and Suffolk, which is full, but we've still got places, and we're pretty much full in Derbyshire as well, and Nottinghamshire. So you need to be really quick if you want to. The other thing I'd like to do is send some love to Brad. So if you could fill out a review, that would be amazing. This is our Google review. You have to be logged in to do Google reviews. So some of you find it a bit of a pain. So I've also got the really nice, easy to use reviews.io, which I definitely recommend. In fact, I did a podcast with Callum last week, which they've just broadcast. They broadcast it this week, but I think we did the podcast back in something like March, and we were talking a lot about AI. The couple of things I wanted to raise, there were some questions. I think I'm not sure whether I answered this correctly, because he did query me, but it was about what Google will think of GI content and whether it will get you deranked. My answer was to do with the quality of that content, but I think you did a presentation on this previously, didn't you? Or was it James who did a webinar on AI in SEO?
I think it was James. I think the general consensus, at least from us, is, we wouldn't necessarily put pure AI content on a website. We'd want to make sure that we're editing it and putting our own touch on it to make sure that it is at least unique. There's got to be a point where so many people use AI that, you already see it on like LinkedIn comments and things where people are using AI to reply to comments, and there's like 20 people on an Instagram post and they've all got the same answer, but it's written a slightly different way, and you can tell that they're written by AI. But Google's come out and said, it's not against AI content. It's not going to punish you for using AI content. It's purely whether that content is answering the questions and whether it's good enough, and whether it is helpful. If it's AI generated and it's helpful, then Google shouldn't really have a problem with it.
Gurjeet's asking about, I mentioned Mammoth, which is our AI tool for creating thousands of product pages. And I've just replied to him to say that is relevant. And you may well may be interested if you want to come back to us. We've also, I wanted to mention something that you didn't mention. I've got my Integrate book, which I've put a link to. I've been talking about integration for 2 years, presenting on it. And then I think Holly did a webinar 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, which I put a link in the chat as well. So you can go and find all the links to all our previous webinars up on the Annika website. But with Google, as it automates everything, it's relying less and less on key phrases. So we've had something called DSAs, which is dynamic search ads, for a number of years now. But more and more of the ads that you do in PPC rely on the content of your page. And if you think about it, shopping ads, which is really important, again, that relies on the content of your website, which then creates a feed. And then that is what's driving the PPC. So I think that eventually when we get to a point where the search results are mainly PPC links, which means they make loads of money, SEO, I mean, me and Brad don't agree on this, but SEO is going to be, on-page SEO is going to be as important for PPC as it is to get found in what's left of the search results. So absolutely, you need to be working together. I think that's really, really important. I'm just seeing if there's any, how should social content Insta link to SEO keywords and will this help SEO? So anything about social and the links in social?
I mean, links in social posts won't count towards SEO. But yeah, it's a tricky one. I think it's going to benefit you from a referral traffic perspective, but it doesn't necessarily, posts on social media aren't gonna benefit your organic visibility or anything. Google doesn't take much notice of them, and a lot of the time it's gated, so unless you're logged in you can't see it, so Google doesn't see a lot of it anyway.
The exceptions may be X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, because those posts do come in to the Google results, and also Facebook reviews sometimes come into Google results as well. So if you've got somebody saying terrible things in Twitter about you or in Facebook, then if somebody searches on your brand, that sort of social reputation is carried across. So you do need to be careful. And I do recommend that, well, we all recommend that you do searches on your own brand just to see what else comes up, preferably in a private or a browser you don't usually use, because it would be biased very much. I'm just seeing if there's any other questions. A lot of love for the presentation, by the way, Brad. It was really very funny earlier on. I think we've covered everything. Yeah, somebody asked about the best tool for doing the Web Vitals, Core Web Vitals. I put that in. I think that's about it. Brilliant. Well, thanks very much, Brad. That's amazing. We've still got a few people in the room, so lots of love coming over, and thanks for the presentation today. Next week is our last one before Christmas, and it's Zach, who's in the content team. I'm not sure exactly what he's talking on yet. I'm sure that Gurpreet or one of the other members of the Annika team will know that maybe can write in the audience. But lots of people saying thank you, and do grab the slides as well. And if you miss them for any reason, then go onto the Annika site and we'll load up the video and the slides there. And you should get the video through your email in about 2 hours. So thank you so much. And yeah, lots of love coming through, Brad. So you should get lots of reviews.
Thanks, everyone.
Excellent. Well, have a lovely weekend and we'll see you next Friday. Bye.
Bye.